Welcome back to the show. Anton Corbijn is best known for directing rock music videos for bands like The Killers, Coldplay, and U2. He was recently here at the Toronto International Film Festival with his first feature-length film, Control. It depicts the life of the troubled frontman of Joy Division, Ian Curtis, who committed suicide when he was just 23.
This is an EP, an ideal for living. And that wraps it up for tonight.
The movie Control, it's not really a Joy Division movie, is it?
That's not what we're calling it, no.
We've just been on telly, lads.
I understand some people call it a Joy Division movie because it's maybe the closest people get to ever experience Joy Division. But no, it's a story about Ian Curtis. He was the singer of Joy Division, so we have parts of that experience in the film.
Those bollocks. He didn't even say if he liked it or anything.
Of course he liked it.
Well, how'd you know?
He waved it in front of camera like that.
So Sam, you play Ian Curtis. You're a guy in a band. This is a pretty big deal, right?
Yeah, incredible.
Talk about Joy Division and kind of, did they have any impact on you at all as a musician?
They were never really one of the bands I used to listen to at home or anything. My voice, sorry.
It's okay, dude.
This is from having a smoke all the way through this movie. I knew of them. I knew Love Will Tear Us Apart like most people,
right,
and Transmission, but I never really gave them much of a chance.
Well, so let me...
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, I have to rethink now.
It's too late, fortunately.
You have a long history with Joy Division in the early days. So tell me about, why making this film was important to you.
I moved to England from Holland because of Joy Division. I worked with them, but Ian died within 6 months of me arriving in England, so it never was a long relationship in that sense. I did a few photographs that became very well known, and they suggest a far deeper relationship between me and the band than actually was. Then I did a video called Atmosphere in 1988, which nobody played at the time, but over the years it has sort of accumulated some sort of cult status. Quite rightly so, I'd say. I think it's my favorite video.
Let me ask you what you think about the legacy of Ian. Why do you think he's left such a strong legacy?
I think it's obviously partly due to the fact that he took his own life at such a young age. People are always fascinated by this live fast, die young, and because of the era, there's not a lot of footage of them. There's no interview footage of Ian talking, so there's all so much of a mystery surrounding him. Forget the record. He's got to put us on.
I think there's a really incredible, great timing to it all, because I think we all can look at it, back at it, and we realize that the Joy Division music was era-defining, but it wasn't based on that era itself. You can play it now and it doesn't feel dated at all.
Staying in the same place, just staying out the time.
They're very beautiful songs, but not that complex, and that's also why the actors all managed to actually play the instruments and recreate it. That's true. If we're doing Pink Floyd, we have a problem.
Dance to the radio.
I think it's a very, very beautiful and powerful music, full stop.
During the Toronto Film Festival, a documentary on Joy Division made its international debut. And though it may seem impossible to document the huge impact the band made on music, the original bassist Peter Hook feels that the film did just that.
Is this the most you've talked about Joy Division in the past 25, 30 years?
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah.
Just as soon as it started and the drums sounded like no drums had ever sounded, and everything seemed to belong in its own space and not quite connecting somehow. Something amazing had happened.
Why is this documentary happening now, and also this movie Control that's come out? Was this just the right time for it?
As a musician, you're all sort of always looking forward to what you do next, which is why sometimes you have a hard time in talking about something you did 30 years ago.
Dance to the radio.
Yeah, I watch it and I think, great band.
I've been waiting for a guy to come and take me by the hand.
I can look back and with the help of the two films, I realised that it was a great era, that Joy Division and Ian Curtis left a legacy of enjoyment for people that is lasting for 30 years. It has to be a wonderful compliment to the chemistry that was Joy Division.
Joy Division had a very big impact on you very early in your life, right?
Yes. It just felt like you were in possession of something so special. Yeah. And you put it on, and it was just this world that was there for you to go into.
Here's a story of a band that did it themselves, coming out of the north of England.
Yeah.
It's very poor and kind of depressed area, and it was either pick up a guitar or walk down a mine shaft, literally.
Don't walk away.
They didn't appear much in their videos. They weren't on their album and CD covers. They didn't care so much about the cult of personality. They were serious musicians.
I always have a wry smile whenever any young new band is compared to Joy Division. Yeah. And it's such a compliment to be compared to bands that I enjoy, like the Editors, the Killers, even Arcade Fire, for God's sake. They're maintaining the legacy of Joy Division. When that happens, it's the sincerest form of flattery, if you like.
Yeah. Had Ian not committed suicide, do you think that their music kind of would have kept going really strong, or was it just this moment? Did it have to be that moment?
You'd love to speculate, and if I had the answer, I'd be at the racetrack. I'd be a psychic. I have no idea what was in Ian's mind.
Yeah.
And I think it's the shock of the film is that even the people close to him didn't know what he had on his mind.
Hallucinating, inane, laughing, grin on his face, like a lunatic.
If you're going to make something that's serious and that lasts, it usually helps to be a complete physical and mental wreck. So there's my tip for you kids out there. If you want to make music that lasts 30 years, then get yourself a bunch of lunatics together.
I'm standing with